Good afternoon and welcome to a discussion about considerations for data center energy efficiency, which was recorded as part of the Technology Resources Summit put on by the Data Center Optimization Initiative of the General Services Administration. This is Ed Salzberg with the Security and Sustainability Forum, and today I'm talking with Tejas Desai, who's the Vice President and Lead Energy Engineer with the Willdan Group, a leading provider of energy efficiency services across the United States and specifically for data centers. Tejas, welcome and thank you for spending some time with me.
Thank you, Ed. My name is Tejas Desai. I'm a Vice President at Willdan. I have about 15 years of experience. Working in data center and hospital is a kind of a main verticals that I have been working on. I worked on almost close to 400 data centers throughout the country. Worked on a variety of programs and supported their data center energy efficiency needs.
That's quite a body of experience. Before we move forward, though, tell me a little bit about Willdan.
So Willdan is a large organization, about 53 years old. We are in a growth path. We have been providing energy efficiency services throughout the country. We work with a lot of utility programs, including pretty much all of the data center utility programs. We have about close to 850 people in the company. 100 of those are engineers, professional engineers, and the remaining people are also supporting the engineering and data center projects.
And I know the company works across the country and has just a great array of facility engineering services. Anything in particular you'd like to point out about the kind of work that the company does?
The company is doing a lot of turnkey type of projects where our engineers believe that they would like to build the projects that they have designed. They have control on the projects from the get-go, where it starts with either condition assessment, feasibility study, or energy audit. And then we take it through the design development process, and we also build our project via construction management as well as construction administration. And we also provide commissioning services, and the whole cycle follows through. That's kind of is in our DNA, and we, being an engineering company, we like to support the project from soup to nuts.
Getting down to energy efficiency for data centers in particular, tell me about the suite of services and what specifically Willdan does to increase efficiency, reduce redundancy, and improve the reliability of the power systems in these facilities.
Willdan starts a data center project with a simple start our services with a simple commissioning study where we go out and perform a commissioning for a data center looking reliability, redundancy, as well as the efficiency in the mine. Some people call it a commissioning study. Some projects start with a condition assessment. And the third kind of assessment we start with is PUE analysis or energy audit. This is typically comprises of facility information and specific energy needs of the facility, and how can you better that? How can you improve energy efficiency into the data center? Once energy conservation measures are developed and also discussed with the customer, it goes through a rigorous design development process, because data centers are a critical facility and they are very much worried about the reliability of the design, because they don't want to compromise the reliability while improving the efficiency of the data centers. And then we can take it through the design development and the construction of the data center and improve the energy efficiency of a data center. And we come back again and perform a commissioning services to make sure installed measures are performing as designed. All the services that I just described, in certain aspect, certain programs, we provide all or some of the services with some of our data center customers that we have.
Are there any particular measures that you found are sort of the most advantageous from an energy efficiency standpoint?
Yes, especially in the data centers, airflow management and aisle containment is one of the low-hanging fruit measure that is available. And we have found many. At least I can count more than 150 data centers out of 170 that we may have visited in one round for specific territory requires some sort of airflow management and oil containment, because when data centers were built, it was not a very common practice, and there is a huge opportunity out there to improve the energy efficiency by airflow management and oil containment.
You had mentioned the utilities, and what's important about the utility incentive programs to data center managers, and especially to companies, say, like Morgan Stanley, who's the topic of this slide?
Some of the utilities have recognized that data center is a major vertical or major energy consumer of their power in their area. And we have recognized, and they wanted to find a response to improve the energy efficiency on those markets. For an example, NYSERDA, which has a program for data center. If you take another example, ComEd Chicago has another program, Centerpoint Utility Program. These are the different markets where there is there's a huge density of data center that is available. In order to respond to their energy efficiency needs, they have created a vertically integrated program for specific to data centers. In New Jersey, for the example that you are looking at here, there was no specific vertically integrated program out there in New Jersey, but they have a custom program that you can utilize to apply for the incentive for any data centers. So Morgan Stanley, when they were building a new pod for their data center in Somerset, they were investing significant amount of dollars, and one of the ways we met with them, and we looked at their data center, and we said, well, are you looking for any incentives, and are you looking at any of energy efficiency measures that you can apply to your newly built pod? We have helped them implement some of these measures and made sure we set up the parameters for these energy efficiency measures. And they were willing to work with us, even with some of the nuances, like they have put in some of the barriers for the measures like economizers. They didn't want to have economizers go on when the trading is going on. At the end, project was very successful. We started this project with them receiving $150,000 incentives. A little more than a double incentive is what we deliver on this project.
Being experienced with the incentive programs, which Willdan is a real advantage. What about applications to government facilities? Are government facilities eligible for incentives, or are there ways to take advantage of those incentives if you're the manager of a government facility, since most of this conference is about federal facilities?
Yes, certainly. Federal facilities are eligible. For our experience, what I've seen is most of the federal facilities are receiving electricity from utility and also contributing into societal benefit charges. That is the charge that funds most of the energy efficiency programs. So they would be certainly eligible. We have worked with some of the federal agencies such as VA hospitals and some of the Navy facilities to receive the incentives.
In addition to the incentives, you had mentioned commissioning and retro-commissioning. Why is that so important when you're approaching reducing power consumption in a data center?
Commissioning is a very important aspect in a data center, because if you can imagine a data center with multiple racks and having some rack having a lower load compared to another rack, and you have a heat distribution or temperature distribution that is highly varying temperature distribution that you have in the data center. If the data center is not commissioned well, you are going to be essentially running a lot more equipment than it is required to maintain the set points in the data center if it was not commissioned right. And as a result, it is going to waste energy. If any of the other control strategies such as economizer operation, which saves significant amount of energy for data centers, if it was not commissioned right, it will not work, and it will create an issue for a data center and the downtime that they're going to have. So commissioning of a data center can make sure the design intent that was laid out by a design engineer is implemented and intact throughout the design and the construction process. So commissioning is extremely important. Retro-commissioning is equally important because as you look at your car, every so many months you're required to do tune-up, you're required to do oil change. Retro-commissioning is a similar aspect where it's good to do retro-commissioning exercise every 3 years where we come back and make sure all the parameters or all the controls and all the different energy efficiency aspect that you have set up, they are working as designed. If they are not, and if they are out of calibration, out of sequencing, you may end up using a lot more energy than you should be to provide power conditioning and cooling for the data centers.
Right, that's really clear. Most of the measures that you've talked about, actually all of the measures that you've talked about or have been listed on the various slides, are about optimizing existing kind of traditional equipment, chillers, pumps, controls. What about advanced energy and the opportunity for solar and distributed energy sources in data centers because they are such energy hogs?
That's an excellent question, Ed. As a part of our utility services that we provide, they have always asked us to go out and evaluate new energy efficiency measures. For an example, I have two examples on this slide where we work with multiple application of supercomputers. You can imagine supercomputer is nothing but a large data center put in a single box that you can see on the picture here. They basically took all the compute powers and they assembled them in one box that can process equivalent computing as a typical data center would do. We have worked with NYSERDA in this particular project where we have developed a matrix for supercomputers. In this case, it was a Blue Gene Q that was being installed on University of Rochester's data center facility. And we were able to compare them against top 500 data centers. And Blue Gene Q at the time when we provided the incentive for this particular machine was ranked number 1 on top 500. They were also liquid cooled. They were being cooled by a DI water that was passing through the server itself, and they were also able to raise the set point inside the area where the Blue Gene Q was installed. This was the most efficient way how they were running their computation, and they reduced their power significantly, and hence they were able to receive $1 million incentives. We have developed multiple other metrics with few of the other data centers programs that we implement on behalf of utility, such as in the telecom industry, they have like a number of customer versus power use. In case of financial institute, transaction to the power use, and in case of the telco side of the facility, number of customer versus power use. And that metrics are typically used to compare them against their peer technologies and also provide energy savings and incentive on the basis of that. And then we have worked with a large financial institute. I want to be able to disclose the name of them, but we have worked with their data center. It was about 6.5 megawatt data center that you're looking in the bottom here. They've asked us to come in and perform a feasibility study to take a look at solar array plus battery storage for their data center. They were looking for us to come in and provide a feasibility study and provide the payback analysis. And this facility is in New Jersey. We have developed the feasibility study, and we have figured out it's about 2.1 megawatt solar array that they can put in. We also said if you install the battery storage to couple that with solar array, they can basically reduce their demand very close to 1.8 megawatt and save power or generate their own power, so they don't have to rely the power from the utility. In New Jersey, SREC and interconnection, SREC is very helpful for the solar project, and as a result, this is going to be project with about 4.5-year payback.
Right, and so the SRAC are the credits that you get but for installing a solar program that can be sold as a tax benefit. Speaking of energy efficiency, what sort of reductions do you experience? What percentage do you typically find in a data center?
On an aggregate level, there are opportunities as close to, depending on the age and construction of the data center and the size of the data center, it could be anywhere between 20 to 40% energy reduction that you can experience in a data center if they go through a rigor of energy efficiency program within their data centers.
And much of that comes from the retro-commissioning, making sure everything is running up to specs, which is a very low-cost investment for that facility.
I would agree that is a great way to start, to take a look at your data centers and improve the energy efficiency in the data centers.
Well, Tejas, I appreciate you spending the time talking about Willdan and the work that you do with data centers. Is there something you'd like to say to wrap this up, a comment or an observation that you have that people could take away from this conversation?
Sure. So I just wanted to give one point about, based on the Moore's law, and is a part of the study that Willdan has performed on behalf of NYSERDA, where we have worked with NYSERDA to do a market transformation study on the data centers. And then what we have determined, based on the Moore's law, the data requirement is doubling every 2 years. In order to support the data requirement, the size of the data center, whether it is existing one or the new build data center, is increasing. With increase of their overall data center use compared to the overall energy use throughout the country is close to 5%, which is a significant number. And with the increase in the data requirement, that is increasing. So the biggest takeaway here is we not only have to improve the efficiency on the existing data centers, but also when we build the greenfield type of data center, should be built with the newer energy efficiency measures already in them, so that we can build those more efficiently and we can keep that 5% of the use lower down to even lower percentage values. It is very important, it's a high time that we have to make sure that we keep that percentage low. Otherwise, with that data requirement, the size of the consumption with data centers keep on increasing and will be out of control in no time.
Excellent point, Tejas. The size of the data center sector and the rate of growth really argues for a lot of attention on energy efficiency and alternative energy systems like the ones you've been talking about.
I would agree.
Well, thank you very much. And it's time to go back to the rest of the conference.